Hello everybody, welcome. Here we have two flagship devices. One is the current leader of the group, the other is near in the back of the pack. Let's compare the 6P to the Nexus 4. So a quick reintroduction back into the Nexus 4. It was built by LG and was announced on October of 2012. It originally came on 18 and 16GB storage options and available only in black. It features a 4.7-inch IPS display and has an 8-megapixel camera on the back, capable of shooting 1080p video at 30 frames per second, and a 1.3-megapixel camera on the front. I've had mine since April of 2013, so shall we compare it to my new Nexus, the Nexus 6P. Right, so let's first compare the exteriors. So as we can see here, the Nexus 6P has quite a bit more going on. You can see with the two front-firing stereo speakers on the front, there is a lot here. And when you compare that to the Nexus 4, the Nexus 4 is smooth, clean. The only real thing that's on the front there is the small speaker grill and the camera. Ignore this, that's from the screen protector I have on it. I've never been good to putting on screen protectors. Comparing the sides, as we see here on the Nexus 6, you've got the power button and volume rocker on the same side, and then the SIM tray is on the top of this side. Whereas the Nexus 4 has the volume rocker and SIM tray on the left hand side, and a solo power button here on the right. Interestingly to note, the SIM trays are on the same side, but the Nexus 6 has it at the top here, and the Nexus 4 has it down the bottom. Right. When we compare the backs of these phones, this is where there's a big difference in what's going on. As you can see, obviously with the Nexus 6, there's obviously the fingerprint sensor here on the back, but it's also made of like this very smooth, plasticky metal. I know that's not a very technical term, but I'm not quite sure what it actually is because I didn't look it up before I started recording this. Normal Daryl fashion. With the only bit of glass really being here at the top band, obviously with the camera and dual flash here. Nexus logos are apparent on both of the devices, but when we feel the Nexus and its smooth glass finish, it feels so different. It feels so nice, and interestingly enough, the camera is above the flash, not beside. I don't know why I found that quite interesting, but I just do. And obviously, if we take a look here at my Nexus, it has been damaged from the one time it wasn't in its case, and I dropped it. Another cool thing about the Nexus back is obviously this texture on this pattern that comes up under the glass. Ignore the fingerprints; it's a fingerprint magnet. I can't help that. Tops and bottoms are about pretty much the same. Pretty much laid out identically. The 3.5mm jack on the top and connection port on the bottom. The only difference here is that the Nexus 4 has micro USB and the Nexus 6 has USB-C. So that is a look at the exteriors of each device. Obviously, the big one being that, well, there's your size comparison. Stop going to screensaver. And you see there's your size comparison. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit around worrying about the internal specs, because, of course, the Nexus 6P is a newer device, which means it's going to have better internals. It's just expected. So, I'm not going to worry about comparing the CPU, GPU, battery, and screen, because, of course, there's going to be differences. It's expected. The cameras, on the other hand, is something worth checking out. So first off, we have an image here that I took at about midday on both devices, and here's a short video taken at about the same time. Human is looking as beautiful as always. What's it like on my roof? Oh, what's it on my computer monitor? Facebook! Ah! It's my face! Ah! This image here was taken early evening, and around maybe 8-9 o'clock as it started getting dark. Newland looks wonderful at night time, I reckon. What am I working on? Oh, my screen's gone blank. It's a screensaver. Wow. As you would expect in this case, the 6P does much better. But, in saying that, the Nexus 4 isn't a bad device. It's still a completely capable phone, the screen is still well into a very good standard, and how it works is still, right up there. And there is a massive community of developers for this phone, so there's still heaps of life left in it. Like I said in my episode of Still Worth Your Time, which was episode 1 where I did an entire episode on the Nexus 4, it is still an amazing device. No longer officially supported by Google though, but still an amazing device. And of course, because they're 3 years old, or coming up to 3 years old, these things are getting very cheap to get a hold of, and I reckon if you were to get one today, you would easily get another 3 years out of it. And until our next video, DFTBA.